Egyptian comic Bassem Youssef sat down with Chris Cuomo for an interview, a podcast interview, and he explained to Chris Cuomo that while he is now eligible to vote in the 2024 presidential race, he is choosing not to vote for Joe Biden and probably not voting at all, and he explains why.
As I'm one of those people, I would vote blue no matter who. I will never give my voice to Biden after what he's done.
So then what do you do? If you're blue no matter who, and the who is Biden and you won't vote for him, what do you do?
I would sit that one out, seriously. It's crazy because I became an American citizen in this country, and I'm so happy to vote. And it took America 4 years to get checked out of the elections. Because if you are continue supporting a daily killing there, and you're not even wanted to put the slightest effect to stop the killing, why would I vote for you? And then they come back and they blackmail us. It's but reproductive rights. At least if a woman in Tennessee cannot have reproductive, she can travel to California, New York to do it. Those people in Gaza have nowhere to go. So and it's always been the Democratic Party blaming the minorities because the Democratic Party gave us the promise that we are on your side. But in reality, they are not, because here you have a war, 27,000 kids, 27,000 Palestinians killed, 100,000 being injured, 70% of the homes. You did this show with Abdul Jabbar, the father, and you gave him the space, and I really appreciate and this guy is an American citizen. He's not even in Gaza, and his son was killed for throwing, and he's not even throw the stone. And even if you throw a stone, he should not be killed.
So it really gives you a lot of perspective to see what a guy who is fairly new to this U.S. system, he's able to deduce very, very quickly what it took many of us many, many years and 2 failed Bernie Sanders campaigns to see, which is that the Democrats basically blackmail you with these social policies that they are marginally to the left of the GOP on, and they try and hang that over your head and guilt you into voting for them anyway. And then the other piece of perspective that you get from that is how relatively first world our problems are here. And this is not to necessarily minimize the struggles of people in red states who need reproductive care and can't get it. There was a horrible story out of Idaho last week about a couple who had a miscarriage and they couldn't get the treatment that they needed. They had to go back and forth to Washington State, and it was horrible. But they had a place to go. They could go to Washington State. His point is these people in Rafah right now are trapped with absolutely nowhere to go. And so this kind of blackmail, which he absolutely correctly puts that way, is not working with him, and apparently it's working with fewer and fewer people. This is just the headline here. I just saw this right before we went on, but I thought I should screen share this. This is from the Huffington Post. Biden's support for Israel is fracturing the reproductive rights movement. Reproductive justice workers believe Biden is contributing to a maternal and reproductive health crisis in Gaza. They're deeply frustrated with him and the big reproductive rights groups that are backing him, that by Alana Vagianos, which is a great name for a woman who writes about reproductive care, Vagianos. I mean, can't get any better than that, right?
That's like there was a whole thing in Freakonomics about whether your name determines your destiny. But it clearly did with this woman.
Clearly did, indeed. So I won't read from here, but if I just highlight they're deeply frustrated with him and the big reproductive rights groups that are backing him. We were talking a little bit on air, off air earlier, Russ and I, before we went on, about how Planned Parenthood basically just an unofficial arm of the DNC at this point. So you see this argument really falling on deaf ears. Obviously, Kamala Harris was heckled by ceasefire activists at her reproductive rights event. Joe Biden had a reproductive rights event where he got protested as well. And so you see here a guy like Bassem Youssef, relatively new to our system, saying, it's funny, it took me all these years to be able to participate, and now I'm choosing not to. How quickly the American system turns off someone who finally gets to participate if he wants to, righteously and rightfully choosing not to.
Well, I think it's the point he's at on the timeline. Mm-hmm. This is why at this point there are less of them, and I have less patience for them. The libs who ran around sharing around Jimmy Kimmel's bullshit, oh, just because you think Alfred's too old to take care of the Batcave doesn't mean you vote in the Joker. They're all fucking sharing that. Like, look, man, you got those people, but they are such a small number of people now, and they're all fucking old as dirt. Very few people can buy that anymore. So if he came here in 2008, would these observations have been any less true? No, but a lot of us hadn't caught on yet. It just wasn't as obvious. Now it's just so painfully obvious that you're just not going to see all that many people unless they're pretty old and pretty rich who can buy into the good Democrats, bad Republicans narrative anymore.
Please clap.